What challenges did you face as a high achieving woman that shaped the work you do today? Yes, Farriha, assalamu alaikum. How are you doing?
Walaikum salam. I'm very good, thank you, Bilal. How are you?
Yeah, I'm totally fine. Thank you so much for asking. Now, in today podcast, this is our first podcast with you, and we really appreciated your time. And in this podcast, obviously, we would like to let people knows about your coaching program as well as the awareness. Okay, so I have some couple of questions for you. Now, Faria, first of all, what inspired you to start She Thrives Coaching?
Okay, so that's a big one, Bilal. She Thrives actually comes from a place of a lot of love and nurturing for myself, purely because women in today's age, there's so much pressure on them. And I was one of those women. We're expected to perform in the workplace, we're expected to perform as mothers, we have societal pressures. And so all of these different elements really, they stretch us thin. And sometimes what happens is we enter burnout because there's only so much you can give, right? If we keep giving, eventually there's nothing left. And especially in certain cultures, what happens is that we kind of sacrifice ourselves, our identities, and that can bear a lot of resentment. And I didn't like that cycle. I didn't want to fall into that cycle. So really, She Thrives is about that self-awareness and that self-empowerment. And so it just kind of started as a small seed in my mind. And we're nurturing it still to this day and trying to make it a place, for women to be able to figure out all these different elements of their lives. So they don't have to pick or choose one, you know. So that's what really She Thrives is. It's about, I wouldn't say a balance, because even a balance is not the right word, but it's integrating the different parts of our lives in a fruitful way.
Mm, okay. Now, what challenges did you face as a high achieving woman that shaped the work you do today?
So there's so many demands, on your time, on your physical being. So a lot of the demands were based around my time,
Mm,
essentially. And so it meant, I was having to give so much more of myself to essentially the place that pays me, right? Because they pay
mm,
me, and you see it as a pressure to perform in that arena. And so what happens is that other parts of your life suffer,
mm,
and that can be your marriage, your relationship with your friends, your relationship with your children. And it shouldn't come down to that. It shouldn't be a struggle of having to choose one or the other. You have to set boundaries
mm,
to have compassion for yourself. And essentially, Bilal, the reality is, as much as we love our work, and yes, it pays the bills,
mm.
do they really care about us? Do they really care about our well-being, our relationships? Most of us are quite easily replaceable, really, essentially. So it's very important to strike that kind of balance in our minds of our work. Yes, it's important. And there's a lot we can achieve in that arena, but also we should be nurturing the relationships, our family lives, all these things that make our lives meaningful. So
Yeah,
yes, a big challenge was the timing, the stress, having to meet deadlines, and not being able to say no,
yeah.
essentially.
And we really knows it you are basically working for the woman, and which is impeccable services you are giving away. Like, what do you see as the biggest struggle women face today? What do you think?
A big struggle is being kind to themselves. The internal conversations that women have with themselves, they're so harsh.
Mm,
I see it day after day. You have these high achieving women who are getting accolades and prizes and so much recognition in the world. From the outside, everything looks perfect.
mm,
But in reality, inside, they feel something's missing. They
mm,
feel that they haven't um, achieved what they set out to. There's some emptiness there.
mm.
And so that emptiness comes about from us giving too much of ourselves. we don't set those boundaries in place. And what I try to do is say to women, you are allowed to say no without feeling guilty. You are allowed to take out time for yourself. You are allowed to invest in your family, your friends. It doesn't have to be all focused on the accolades and the wins outside. So one of the things I really encourage women is to appreciate the small wins. The so-called small wins that perhaps you don't get accolades for, being able to sit with your child at dinner or helping them do their homework or, going for a short 10-minute walk with your husband. Things that you won't get a certificate for, but they're so meaningful. They're
Yeah.
so impactful to us. So those internal conversations, we have to shift those. We have to
All right.
shift those conversations with ourselves.
Okay. So, let's talk about the gratitude. Why do you think so many successful, women feel unfulfilled, despite having it all? Like we see in our basic in daily life as well, like they, you know, feels like having it all, but they think like unfulfilled despite, in terms of
Yeah.
gratitude, you can say or something. What do you think about it?
That unfulfillment comes from a place of where they're neglecting themselves, really. It does come from putting everyone and everything ahead of themselves,
Hmm.
especially work. So, you know, we live in a day and age where we have our mobile phones with us all the time, right? So, you've come back from work, but work has come with you.
Hmm.
So, although you might be sitting at the dinner table with your family, um, you're still checking your emails. Oh, I might as well do this one thing, oh, one last thing, I need to send this off. And that really impacts us. And we don't realize how much it takes away from us. So that kind of the feeling of unfulfillment comes from not nurturing another side of our lives, which we should be nurturing. Our relationships, our own mental well-being, our physical well-being. We kind of put them all to the bottom of the list.
Hmm.
And because of these, the pressures from work, we kind of give everything there. When it comes back to ourselves and our families, our friends, our, societies, we've got less to give. So that fulfillment comes from that, that kind of imbalance, so to speak, in our investment, in
Hmm.
our time.
Yeah. Let's talk about women who are working, working women, or right, and housewives. How do mom guilt, burnout, or strained relationship, show up in your client's life? What do you say?
Yeah. In all aspects, both the working women and the moms who are, working at home housewives, they both experience mom guilt, and it's a
Hmm.
very real thing. So you have, on the one hand, you have women who are in the workspace, achieving so much, having to work double as hard as the men, really.
Yeah.
That's another issue. They're having to work so hard, and when they go home, there's nothing left to give to the kids. They find they're snappy, they get angry very quickly with the children, or they don't have as much patience. And it's just, that's one guilt. So then they'll feel bad, right? They'll have this little mini explosion with children. Why did you drop that? Or, um, the other side is for the housewives. They have this guilt that I'm not I'm not providing a good role model for my children. I should be out working. I should be. So it's like a 360.
Mhm.
You're going to get mom guilt from any angle, whether you're working mom or whether you're a mom at home. We are going to face it because society works like that,
Correct.
right? We're being sold these images, these photoshopped images, unreal lives on social media, that you have to aspire to be like this or like this to be counted successful. And
Yeah.
so our parameters for success are all the way up here. They're from social construct. And really what we need to do is break that down. And so this is where gratitude comes in, is that experiencing and being present for the small moments, appreciating them,
Hmm.
embracing.
Yeah.
So, each moment can have so much benefit in us, yeah.
I understand. I understand. Now, obviously, work in solution handling your social media as well. Now, we did see, you are talking about a lot of stuff related to presence over perfection. So, what does that mean in real life?
Yeah, so this is a big one. It's kind of like my slogan, because what happens is, in today's day and age where everything is through a filter, through Photoshop, everything looks perfect.
Hmm.
We're chasing perfection. We're human beings. We're not made for perfection. We're
Correct.
not going to be perfect. It's
Correct.
just not, it's not attainable. And so rather than pushing ourselves and burning out and chasing something that sometimes is unattainable, right? We need to be where we are now, in the present. So that can look like when you're having a meal, when you're sitting down for a meal, appreciate that meal.
Hmm.
Think about it, smell it, taste it, be there with the people who are around you. Don't be on your device, trying to, answer that last email, or, send off this, whatever you're trying, presence is everything.
Hmm.
Presence is what life is.
Correct.
Because when you spend your life trying to chase perfection, you're not in the moment. You're planning. You're thinking about things that may or may not happen. You're thinking about things that sometimes are out of your control, but your mind is in that place, not here. And so
Hmm.
then one of the reasons why saying, presence over perfection is, when I work with these women, it's like, appreciate what you have now. Be
Hmm.
in the now, be
Understand.
in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard about a myth that is having it all that you want to break for women. So, what do you say about it? Beyond career achievements, I'm saying that, like, how can a woman start redefining success beyond career achievement, having it all that you want to break for a woman?
See, this is personal journey, Bilal. For each woman, it's, the parameters, it's what she chooses.
Hmm.
The problem comes when we're given the dictates from society,
Ah,
right? You have
yeah.
this, you have to do this, you have to achieve this. For some women, success is having, not taking that promotion, but being present, being able to do the school runs. So somebody
Hmm.
may, for them, they might be like, okay, I'm not going to take the pay rise, because it will impact my family. I won't be able to pick kids from school. I won't see them until their bedtime. It's about finding the balance which works for you.
And
So
which obviously our Islam also saying, like, keep the balances in every prospect in your life, in any way,
yeah, it's so beautiful, because these roles are laid out for us in a perfect way, almost, right? That you don't have to chase and live someone else's dreams.
Yeah.
What we need to normalize is this, even the smaller things, even the small things, like being able to walk your child to school, sitting down to do homework with them,
Mm,
um, even even going grocery shopping with your kids can
mm,
be time well spent. It
mm,
can be moments making memories.
mm,
But when we say women, they're trying to have it all, and can they achieve it all? Perhaps you
mm,
can't. And perhaps that's a reality we need to face, because the women I work with, some of them have regrets.
mm,
They feel sad about some of the choices they made, because they gave precedent, to their work. They give preference to the meetings and the trips abroad and trying to pursue their careers. And they feel that, we perhaps missed out on other things. But then you can flip it the other way too. So that's why it's so important for each woman to kind of craft her journey in a way that will work for her. And I think that's part of what a coach like myself would do, is help you to find clarity around those areas. What areas am I feeling that I need work on? So it's not about having it all, because I don't think it's it's a really hard one, right? what is
Yeah,
having it all? So again, it comes down to what each woman wants out of her life.
correct.
But but that journey is something you don't have to do alone. You can get the support of, professionals. You can get a coach. If you've got a good friend who can support you, there's lots of ways that you can kind of navigate that journey.
I understand that. We need to discuss about one thing which is commonly, we are facing in Pakistan as well. Like for women struggling with confidence, especially introverts or those rebuilding after divorce, where should they start? Because in Pakistan, let me just tell you about the ratio of divorce, is very much higher, So what you say about them? Because Fariha, you are a person to give globally your services. Okay. So we just want your words, to let those people know, who basically rebuilding after divorce or especially introverts. So what do you say about that?
Yeah. Well, firstly, there's nothing wrong with being an introvert. Um, you know, we've all been created with our own personalities. We all have preference in how we deal with people. There's lots of factors that come into this. So it's not one size fits all.
Mm,
But for someone who perhaps has gone through something like a divorce, a lot of the time, my advice would be to kind of work on yourself, get to know yourself, have self-awareness. Because for some of these women, they come out of abusive marriages. They've
mm,
lost all confidence. They've been reliant on this one person who's perhaps the breadwinner of the family, or, there's lots of different things that come into play here. But essentially, the most important thing is to kind of reconnect with yourself and to kind of make a plan of how you're going to move forward. And I mean, when you mentioned introverts, I remember one lady who I helped, who she could make friends. She really struggled with making friends. And in the first session, when I was speaking to her, one of the things was I'd love to go into a room and know lots of people.
mm.
That would make me feel confident.
Okay.
And so one of the things I suggested to her, let's flip it. What if you go into a room full of strangers, but you have the ability to make them into friends? And really, Bilal, by the end of by the 7 or 8 session, she'd been joining all these book clubs, talking to people, going to art exhibitions, and she'd found that confidence. And she said, you know what, at the end, when she spoke to me about the session, she said, it really changed my perspective. I had gone in wanting, to be this confident, outgoing person and to have all these friends around me. But actually, what I learned about myself was that I can still be a quiet person, but a confident person who still connects with people. It's about finding your tribe, about finding your people. And sometimes you need the support of others to help you on that journey. But the most important thing is to get to know yourself, you
Yeah,
know.
I
That's the
understand.
most important thing. In any, whether you're an introvert, whether you've gone through a rough time in a divorce, the most important thing is getting reconnect with yourself,
And
reconnect
also
with who you are.
yeah, and reconnect with your Allah as well, I must say.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Having a spiritual base is everything,
Yeah,
It
back to
really
the
does help
basics,
us
you can
to,
say.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
Got it. Got it. Really appreciate it. Now, let's talk about how do you help women strengthen their relationship while still they are facing some issues in their careers, in your coaching I'm talking about.
Yeah. So sometimes, yeah, you're right. Sometimes women will come to me and they're having issues with the careers as opposed to with their families. And they, want to get more out of their careers. And so what we do is we work on a base by base, it's individual basis. So we kind of come together and we have a think about what they need to be doing in terms of the next steps. Because remember, as a coach, I don't give you all the answers. And that's the beautiful thing, because the answers come from you, they come from within you. And so my job really is to support you on that journey. It's like
Mm,
having a friend, it's like having a soundboard, it's like having your cheerleading team, it's an accountability partner. It's someone who's got your back, who's there for you on each step. Um, but I won't do it for you, and I won't give you the answers.
understand.
So it's a you know it's a person by person basis. We talk, we plan out together what the best stage, because something which may work for one woman may not work for another.
Yeah,
So it has to be on it, and that's why it's such a beautiful relationship, really. The coaching client, because we're working together.
I understand.
It's we're working forwards together.
Yeah, I understand. And Faria, that like I'm listening to you, I'm getting out of it a lot of things. And I must say to our audience, like it's not only for the women, it's for all, because men really need to understand about the things, the problems of women. And once obviously someone listening the problems, so rectification start from there. What do you say?
Exactly. It's
Exactly.
only when you understand what the issues are that you can begin to address them. If you live in ignorance, then you're just going to be doing the same old. And so that doesn't help anyone. It's very important to identify what needs to change.
Correct.
And it's not difficult to do the change, but the hardest thing is that first step. And so that's why having some support, having someone to kind of guide you in those initial steps can be a life changer. One of the greatest things that I learned in my kind of training was my mentor coach said to me, Farriha, the best coach is the one that you don't need.
Oh, okay.
And that's such a powerful statement, because what it means is that if you should be good enough that you help that person to develop and grow so much that actually in the future they don't need to pay a professional. They don't need
Mm,
to, they have the skills for themselves. And that's the greatest service. If we can
yeah,
get to a place,
correct.
where we help people to that point, and then imagine, Bilal, the ripple effect.
Mm, that
Mm.
is correct. That is correct. Now, my last question. I'm not taking much more of time of yours, my last question is like, what's your vision for She Thrives coaching in the next 4 to 5 years?
Have big dreams. I have big dreams for this because I really think it's something impactful.
Hmm,
Um, I'd love to be able to touch even one life and help one life. And if I've done that, then that's great. But
beautiful.
if I could do it on a bigger scale, I mean, wow, I almost think of it as like a sadhka jariyah, right? Something that it just keeps giving good.
Correct.
If I can help women have that, have those lives that are fulfilling. Yes, they can still pursue their career. Yes, they can still have a married life, have the children, have friendships and meaningful relationships. Then I feel like I've done my part. As long as I have people, who I leave behind who'll be like, yeah, Farriha made an impact in my life. She helped me in whatever way. That's the biggest kind of goal that I have.
Understand.
Broader than that, I mean, I'd love uh, to be able to empower women with these kind of skills. Perhaps set up social enterprise, something to support women. You mentioned, divorce is quite rife in Pakistan. Perhaps to do something, to help women in those kind of backgrounds. Um, Perhaps have a program which supports them get, to refine themselves, gain that confidence again. Lots of plans, Bilal. If I start, I won't stop. So
And
I just
hopefully,
want to
and hope,
impact. I just want to make a
yeah,
good impact.
yeah, hopefully, we are the best company for you in the next near future. We just start with you, and obviously, with the passage of time, we will grow together. And definitely, once the hope is there, once the will is there, there is a path, which you need, which you will be, achieve in the next near future. Faria, thank you so much for your time, for your kind words, and the information. And definitely we can do more podcasts with you, with your approval, obviously, from your
Yeah, yeah.
time. Yeah, exactly. So next week, definitely we can come again, and on that time we can go live as well on Facebook and Instagram, and definitely we can give a best surprise to the audience, right?
Hopefully we can.